Hey, yo, this is a new episode of the All Time Podcast. Listen to these guys, they're awesome.
Live in studio with some of my closest friends, who I think are my closest friends. We got the lights going. Somebody's sick. The other person actually showed up. We are here for a new episode of the All Time Podcast. And I am your host, the Rated R podcaster, the visionary, and the revolutionary, Steven All Time, with my co-host, Steven, live in person.
Hey, what's up, everyone? You recognize the voice? It's the greatest there is, the greatest there was, and the greatest there ever will be. Plain and simple. Let's. There's no sugarcoating it. It is what it is. If you're not happy with it, well, suck it.
And Mr. Flip Phone Derek.
Yeah, sure. And tonight, and only tonight, best sound in podcasting.
And I'm the sickest co-host you ever seen. I'm Dean Milenko, the best French-Canadian accent since Luc Plamondon. Shout out to him.
Shout out to him.
Derek went first and Malenko went last. Is it because you're sick?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Malenko has no energy. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to carry it.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's all good.
It is what he is. He has a Montreal
A lot
Canadian
of water
side.
today. A lot of water today.
We are here live in studio. I love when we do these. Just being in studio with you boys, I think, is just some of the funnest times that we have together. Just being in the same area also is super fun. But tonight, we are here and we are doing something very different from what we usually do. Yes, we are giving you lists, but we are here to give you our top 10 album list from 2016. We are in the year 2026. And we want to tell you how we feel about these albums 10 years after the fact. And now let's be honest with each other. I had another vision for this episode. It's actually Malenko who came up with this concept for the episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you our top 10 albums from 2016.
It was a good year for music.
It was a good year for
Crazy
music.
year.
Like when I look at the list, so I have my list and I sent you both my list that I actually put together. It was a top 15 list that I put together from 2016.
We'll have it on the screen.
Yeah, we're gonna
add it. Yeah.
Yeah, add it on the screen. That's my list from 2016. How crazy it's changed completely, drastically, to the point where when I sent it, Derek's like, "This is not your list. That's not your list."
Yeah, I was like, it makes no sense. So let's just preface by saying Steven initially wanted to do something because it's the 10-year anniversary of the Flygod drop, and Steven sent me a list from 2016 and Flygod was on the list, but it wasn't even in the top 10. So I was like, how was the theme going to be an episode about the Flygod when it's not even on your top 10? It just made no sense.
So the crazy thing about that is, and when we get into our lists, is that how, like, the longevity of an album, the longevity of the record, and how it sounds down the line.
Yep.
When people call albums classics after it being out for a week or after it being out for a year, it doesn't make sense because you don't know how that album is going to sound 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the line.
Yep.
And then when you go back and listen to those records and remake your list, you're literally like, oh wow, it's changed that much drastically, right?
Yep.
And we're going to get to where Flygod is in 2026. But Flygod was at number 12 on my list when I made the list in 2016.
Yep.
So let's get into it. But
Yep.
before that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Derek.
Yeah, sure.
2016, let's go.
Yeah, 2016. So we mentioned 2016 was a great year for music. However, 2016 was also a pretty heavy year for music in that we lost 4 music legends, all genres included for the most part. George Michael passed away in 2016.
Mhm.
We also lost Prince. Prince didn't drop anything, neither did George Michael. However, the next 2 people on the list actually dropped albums days right before they passed away. That's Leonard Cohen with You Want It Darker. And we also have David Bowie's Black Star. And both of those albums, those are my honorable mentions for my list. I'm just going to say right now, 2 very heavy albums, both talk about the theme of death, which is very ironic considering that Leonard Cohen passed away 2 days after he released his album, and David Bowie, like, I want to say 2 weeks, like 16 days around that. And they're great albums for the most part. Like, they're fantastic. They're heavy. They're dark. They're somber. There's like impending doom to it. There's a lot of death theme, like, overall in 2016 for some reason. I don't know why, but like other artists on my list also have like death themes like going on. But I did want to shout this out as just every year that we're going to do these lists, every year that we're going to have new artists come up, we're also going to have older artists pass away.
Mhm.
Artists that either defined the generations that came before us or artists that defined our generation. We already sort of started seeing it in our generation, in the last, 10 years. We've had, Chris Cornell pass away. We've had Chester Bennington pass away. We've had Ka pass away. We've had a lot of these artists that shaped our generation of music, and it's going to happen every year. And it's not necessarily to get heavy, but it is to shout out their contributions to music. And in this case, it just so happens that 2 of them actually dropped what some people will say that within their repertoire of music, like in the top 5 of their repertoire.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the way that I shaped my list, by the way, just so everyone knows. I shaped my list in what albums I think 10 years later, people are going to look at those albums from those artists and think that's among their best work. I didn't make a list of what I enjoyed the most. I make a list of what I think 10 years later aged the best for those artists, what defined those artists. That's how I made my list. And you're going to see my list is going to be significantly different from the 2 gentlemen's lists, just because that's the way that I approached it. I don't know how you guys approached your lists, but that's how I approached it.
How did you approach it? I'd like to know how your approach, because we probably in 2016 probably had a similar list.
I did nostalgia and what did I listen the most in the last 10 years. But straight nostalgia. Like, it was fun because I prepared it for this episode. Like, it's been now a month and a half that I think I've been listening to 2016 albums. And there's some albums that I didn't realize how much I liked them. Like, I couldn't believe it how fun it was to do this. So it's pure nostalgia. And what is till this day I listen the most.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's 10 years down the line. And like, to me, artists change with time, obviously. So you felt something when you were listening to these records in 2016, but you probably feel different 10 years down the line. So how do they stick with you? And usually we give you hip-hop lists. Usually we give you hip-hop reviews. But this episode, we're really going to go in depth in different genres of music.
And this was, as fun as this was so challenging.
It was tough.
It was so challenging to straddle that line between what we really did enjoy at the time to what we're re-listening to now that we're just like, oh, it's not as good as this. And then you put it up against the repertoire from that artist since then. And some of these artists have either fallen completely off or some of those artists have actually elevated their game. It's as if 2016 was good, but then 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 was better. So that was in and of itself was very challenging.
Some of them never did nothing better than this.
Right.
I have 2 or 3 like that.
It's crazy because I'm looking at my list and you're absolutely right. And you know what? Some people haven't put out an album since the album that they put out in 2016. So that's crazy.
And some are actually dropped. One artist specifically dropped an album this year, and it's been 10 years since he dropped his last project, which is ironic enough, but it is what it is. I mentioned my honorable mentions. Melanco.
Okay, I can do mine. So real quick, we're not going to pass too much time on these. First, in my list, I thought at the beginning, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have all kind of music on here. It's going to be crazy. Everything that's not hip-hop got pushed out in my honorable mentions pretty much. Knock Loose, Laugh Tracks. That's how I discovered them. Loved it since day one. Blood Orange, Freetown Sound. Love that album to death. I think it's such a good album. I discovered them with that. Run the Jewels 3. That, like, that's an album that I listened to. I'm like, oh, it came out 2016. Let me see. Dude, I couldn't, every track was like, oh yeah. Run the Jewels is such a good album.
Oh, it wasn't even on my list.
Yeah, and now, like, it's my honorable mention. It pushed out at the end. An album that I never liked reggaeton my whole life because I talk Spanish and those rap, they say the things they said, my mom would have killed me. But J Balvin with Energia, that album made me fall in love again with reggaeton. I still remember when I listened to it. It's the first full album reggaeton that I liked ever in my life, like no skips. And for the heavier side, we got Nails. You Will Never Be One of Us. The most darkest, heaviest. That's when I learned about Nails and love with that album since.
Crazy. You had what, 4 or 5? You had 3 or 2?
2.
I have 5.
Crazy thing for Derek, because Derek mentioned David Bowie and Leonard Cohen. Fun fact is I worked at HMV in a music store 2016. That was the last year that I worked in the record store, HMV, which was probably the biggest record store in Canada.
Yeah.
And I remember when those 2 records came out, the day that those 2 passed away, Leonard Cohen and David Bowie, people rushed to the store to buy both of those records.
I remember it was actually on TV. There was people like in the news reporting how much like people were making the line to buy those CDs and how like they were selling out. It's the coincidence of it all. And as I mentioned before, both of those artists and both of those albums specifically deal with the theme of death. And both of those artists really didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
The whole tragedy behind it. And who are we kidding? One of them is one of the greatest songwriters of all time. He probably has the most covered song of all time, and Leonard Cohen's a Hallelujah. And David Bowie is absolutely unmeasurable in terms of his
Iconic.
impact on music and the artistic approach that he took to music. And we have to shout out the fact that Leonard Cohen's from Montreal.
Yeah.
We also have to shout that out.
And there's a mural of him.
There is, yeah. You can see it from the highway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stevens, honorable mentions.
So my honorable mentions are going to be, oh boy, Frank Ocean,
Wow.
Blonde. That's an honorable mention. It's top 15.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're giving a top 10 list. So Frank Ocean, Blonde, Run the Jewels 3. Okay. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did see them live that year for that album. And if you've ever seen those 2 live, they put on a incredible performance.
Mm-hmm.
And my third one, I'm only going to give 3, is going to be A Tribe Called Quest. We got it from here.
Yes.
Thank you for your service.
Yes. Great album.
Great album. The last Tribe Called Quest project came out of left field and literally blew me away. You have Andre 3000 on there. You got Kendrick Lamar on there. You have Busta Rhymes on there.
Everyone came out for it.
And it actually sounded really, really good. They did an amazing job on there.
Yep.
So those are my my 3 honorable mention.
You want to start this? Let's
You
go.
want to start to the list?
Fucking ready.
So we're going to give you our list. We're going to go with Derek Malenko and then myself, obviously. But we're going to discuss
He
those.
likes himself too much. He likes himself too much.
When you're the host.
Oh, yuck. Oh, fuck. Okay.
Let's just say we're going roughly.
That made me sicker.
We're going roughly with height from the tallest to the shortest.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Made me sicker, bro.
We'll go with the most hair to the less hair. That's why Steven is going.
How about we do it with the less knowledge to the most knowledge?
Dude, I might
Sure,
use
if
the
your
white
knowledge is-
right now, dude, that's
Yeah.
you made me sicker, bro. Oh my god, dude.
All right, so here we go. So the greatest of all time. I'll do 10 to 6, and then we'll do a little 5 to 3 action, and then we're gonna do our top 2 at the very end.
2016.
2016 top 10 albums. My number 10 is Ka, Honor Kill the Samurai. Just great project. It's Ka. We know what we're gonna get with Ka. I actually listened to this album in 2016, not really knowing about Ka. This was my first introduction to Ka, period. And I remember at the time not really being into hip hop. And I remember that still being from a lyricism perspective. I remember that being like, what the hell is this? They can make hip hop like this.
Yep.
That's how much like that changed for me.
You heard that album in 2016?
I heard that album in 2016.
That's amazing.
I heard that album in 2016. It was at a time where I would just buy CDs nonstop, and I would just a friend would give me a CV, or like he wouldn't like something and he'd just give it to me, and then I'd listen to it. It was at a time where I had a CD player in my car when those were still a thing. And yeah, I remember listening to that album and giving it back to my friend. I'm like, I don't understand how you don't like this. I genuinely don't. Like, it opened so many doors for hip hop in terms of like what hip hop could be from a lyricism perspective. I just didn't know. You know, the only venture I had into hip hop was 50 Cent, Eminem, G Unit, that kind of stuff from like our years, right?
Wow, that's interesting.
Number 9, and like I said before, this list is going to be what I think marked the careers of artists. It's very important. Number 9, I have Beyonce's Lemonade. When all is said and done, I think Beyonce's Lemonade is going to go down on one of her best albums, if not her best album. It is sonically creative, the sound, the energy she brings to it. It's a fun album to listen to. It's nothing too pretentious. It's, for me, the beginning of Beyonce, before Beyonce became like, every time she drops, like it goes like top number 1 in everything she does. To me, this is the beginning of that, and this is the purest version of that. It's her best.
Is that the Jay-Z diss album where she was just throwing jabs at Jay-Z, obviously because of their relationship?
Yep.
It is what it is.
Well, she went through all the relationship stages throughout the album. That's what's really nice about that album.
Yeah, and it's just a fantastic album. Number 8, once again, albums that marked an artist's career. We have Bruno Mars, 24K
Hits.
Magic.
Hits.
That album is, when you put that album on, it's one of the most fun albums you'll ever listen to. Bruno Mars has a thing with beats and the way that he's able to just groove on a song. I don't know anyone who a Bruno Mars song comes on and doesn't just feel the music.
Doesn't like it. Yeah, it's impossible.
He's fantastic from this to then switching up and doing a project with Anderson .Paak, which was just as good. He released an album this year, by the way. He's the artist I was mentioning before. 10 years since his last release. Dropped an album in February.
Yep.
Not the greatest, but 24 Karat Magic was a banger album, just stacked.
Derek, I need to add something. I'm sorry to cut you off. Lemonade?
Yeah.
And the Bruno Mars project?
Yeah.
Working at HMV, working at the record store, the people would, like, we used to have full hours of those albums, and people would consistently come to the store to pick it up. We would have to restock it every hour, consistently restock it. That's how music was in 2016. People were still showing up to stores to buy the product.
I was still buying CDs.
We weren't buying things that would sell out and then be like, oh, we're never going to ever get it
But
again.
also, and to your point, and that's very important to mention to everyone, is the fact that you only bought an album back in those days. That's a little bit before like the streaming days. You only bought an album back in those days whenever a friend had bought that album and told you have to listen to this. Like that's how you bought an album. Someone bought it and they're like, oh, you have to listen to this. Or they would drop a single and then you're like, oh my God, is the rest of the album like this? That's how you did
singles. Yeah, the singles were rock.
That's what brought people to the record stores, is people speaking about that album and people like us reviewing albums. That's what brought people to genuinely buy those CDs. Steven lived it in the music store. You don't get people coming into a music store to buy CD unless people love the project, you know? Moving on to my number 7, actually hip hop. Denzel Curry, Imperials.
Yep. That's a great
You
album
guys
too.
both know.
My favorite of his.
You guys both know I absolutely am a giant fan of Denzel Curry.
Yeah.
The way that he's recently has been able to mix the hip hop with the rock and the kind of like metal that he's been doing. He just had a collaboration with Knock Loose. Before that, he did a Bulls on Parade cover.
The Bulls on Parade cover by Denzel Curry was like
crazy.
Absolutely fantastic.
Was sick.
It's absolutely great. I love the energy he brings. I've mentioned multiple times on this podcast, performance. He performs. There's no sugarcoating it. Denzel Curry on an album performs. Denzel Curry live performs. And number 6, I have CRX New Skin. I understand a lot of you might not know who this is. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. It might also have the best cover of 2016, in my opinion, just like a tiger with a leather jacket, like a biker jacket. Rock, nothing too heavy, just good old fashioned, just rock music, enjoyable, heavy guitar riffs, some steady drums, good lyricism, just a fun little project that you could put if you're not too much into rock. You just put that on. A lot of people will actually enjoy it. It's super fun. It's super lightweight, nothing too serious. Just, yeah, that's my 10 to 6, fellas.
That's a great list. I'm gonna hit you with my 10 to 6. Number 10, Frank Ocean, Blonde. Dude, really listening to that shit, man. Why did Frank Ocean doesn't release music anymore? What's wrong with this guy? He did an excellent goddamn album. I did not know I have those feelings in me still when I listen to that.
It's crazy when you press play.
I didn't think I was expecting.
Pause.
I need
Pause.
I need to add something to that. So when that album came out, it didn't release in store.
No.
He released a newspaper for it.
Yeah.
He released a vinyl for it and a CD only on his website.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, I had one of my homies that had the whole
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
That's
he had the
crazy.
whole thing.
That's
I remember
crazy.
it and like open it and seeing the cover and everything was like a whole experience. But that when it dropped, it stopped the world. So we passed from Frank Ocean Blonde to the probably the most ignorant album that came out that year, 9, Future, Evil. I think that's his best album. Future on that, man, he probably did that album in 45 minutes. And he probably doesn't even remember how he did that album, but it's so nasty. It's so nasty. I love everything on it. He has, I think, no feature, if I remember well. Ain't No Time. He has songs glorifying the Xanax usage. Like, he talks about women like the nastiest way. Fucking, I love it. I love it. I'm all for it. And till this day, I think it's his best album
Better
by
than
far.
Yes2? Dirty Sprite
Way
2?
better. Way better. He has no skip on that. He's the nastiest. The Lil 80 Baby is his best song. And it's 4 minutes. He's probably went to the studio, heard the beat, and just went on it. On whatever he was. Number 8. This is the only album that I want from him. If I have one to choose of his whole catalog, this is the one I'm sticking with. Young Thug, Slime Season 3. Slime Season 3 has the craziest performance and voice ranges that he never did. He ever did. Ever. There's some songs on here, they're bangers forever. Digits, Memo, fucking, the whole album is fire. Tattoos is insane. He went crazy on that. That's the only album I would stick with for the rest. Number 7, Chance the Rapper, Coloring Book. That's an album when I listened to it back, dude, it was so fun. I'm like, oh, it's true. There's this banger. It's the most like happy, like I feel well type of album. There's no clean version of it, but there's still like you can listen to it pretty much everywhere. And this is best album, and he went down after that big time.
Does he even exist anymore?
Yeah, he released an album this year.
Really?
Last year, at the end of 2025. Nobody spoke on it. Since the big day, it was the biggest crash I ever seen. And number 6 was my first time hearing about this artist. I discovered him because of Mike Seatown from Dead End Hip Hop. And Ka, Honor Killed the Samurai. I was stunned when I heard that shit. I couldn't believe someone could rap like that on drumless beat and be so dark. And that was like a big eye opener for me about the whole scene and Ka and his artistry and how he can take rap. I was listening to Future, Evil, and Ka at the same year.
Crazy, huh?
Crazy.
I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with number 10. I'm going with Absol. Do
Oh
what
my God,
thou
yeah, that was
will.
Yeah.
I remember that, and my son. It was the first year that my son was born, and I used to go pick him up at daycare. And I was in a terrible mood the first year of my son being born because it was
Tell me something new.
it was the first year of me being a father, so it was tough for me to deal with. It was something new. I didn't know if I was doing a good job. I didn't know if I was doing a bad job. But digging into this Absol album, and Absol always being that emotional artist, always really putting things on the table, putting like, being front and center with emotions, it really helped me get through things. And it was an album that I would always consistently go back to. And I remember always, when I would always go pick up my son at daycare, there would always be a train that would pass at that same time. So almost every time. And it would always be at the same point of the album. and it stuck with me. And this record is one of Absol's best records.
It's underrated as
It's
fuck.
underrated. Nobody ever talks about it. It
Mhm.
never came out on CD. Okay, I don't even think it ever came out on vinyl. But the dude is just on a different level in terms of rapping. If you're gonna put him up against Kendrick or Schoolboy Q or Reason or
J. Cole.
or J. Cole, he raps so unorthodox and out of the box
Mhm.
and so weird.
All the
but-
time.
Look, I didn't think this was gonna stay in my top 10, and if I'll be honest, this was at number 7 for me when I made my list in 2016. I'm keeping it in the 10 for sure. Number 9.
Oh shit.
I can't wait to say my number 9 to him to see if he remembers.
Yeah.
Smoke Dizza and Pete
Yeah.
Rock.
Yeah.
Don't smoke rock.
Yeah, you love that shit when it came out.
Yo, when that came out, I've been a Smoke Dizza fan since Rugby Thompson, since the fucking early 2010s. But that record with Pete Rock, seeing Pete Rock work with guys like Smoke Dizza and giving us that nostalgic, boom bap, jazzy type feel to the record,
Mhm.
that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Light years, man. And there's so many good tracks on there. The song with Cameron.
Yeah, I think it's his best project. Smoke Dizza. Yeah.
Amazing. And Pete Rock gave it immaculate
Yep.
beats on there. And till this day, still stand out. You need to hear that.
Basically, I'm going to use both of your lists, and I'm just going to go and listen to the albums that I haven't listened to because, I mean, who are we kidding? There's probably albums on here that you guys haven't listened to, that there's definitely albums on your list that I haven't listened to. So I'll for sure do it. Like, I have no choice now. If it's on the top 10, then I got to listen to it.
Yeah, you
maybe,
need to listen
we'll
to
revisit
Future.
in the future.
Evil.
I
I
want-
Future Evil.
Number 8, Isaiah Rashad, The Sun's Tirade.
8.
Look, I love it. I still love it to this day, but with just where I am and how I feel, it's a number 8. It's a great record. It's probably his best record. One thing I hate about this record is that I don't own it on CD.
And he's coming out with something this year. And that's most anticipated album for me.
But just in terms of flow, just in terms of creativity, just in terms of just the atmosphere of what the album gives, you, Derek, with what I know you like in hip hop, you would love this
the
record.
performance he gives, the whole sequencing of the album is so good.
Yeah,
so good.
It again, he gives us a nostalgic feel on the album. He kind of taps into a world of like that, what we would want from an Andre 3000 record. Number 7. It wasn't on any of my lists, and I didn't listen to it in 2016. I only listened to it in 2017. Vic Spencer and Big Ghost,
Wow.
The Ghost of Living.
That's early Big Ghost.
That's
Oh,
early Big
man.
Ghost. That's Big Ghost's second project because he did Griselda Ghost,
Shout out to Vic.
and Vic killed this. To this day, listening to this project, whether it's the winter, whether it's the summer, whether it's raining, you put this record on, the vibe you get throughout this just sets a standard. But you also get the drumless on there. You also get the heavy bass.
Heavy
You also
bass.
get a type of flow that you're not accustomed to in 2016. And like
The
Sean,
crazy ad libs of Vic all the time. Yeah.
right?
So
And
funny.
And Sean Price said it. All you rappers are boring.
Yeah.
Not Vic Spencer.
Yeah.
That's how I got into Vic Spencer is because of Sean Price. Number 6, Kendrick Lamar, Untitled, Unmastered. Something that came out of left field.
B-sides.
All
B fucking
B-sides
sides.
of just things that didn't make albums that he made an album out of, and it's just great. More singing Kendrick on here.
That song with CeeLo? What's that song with
I
CeeLo?
can't remember,
I
but
can't remember because the names of those songs are fucked up, those titles. But
yeah, I would just play this on loop all the time, and to this day, it still sounds great.
so jazzy.
Yeah, it was
Everything
a lot
on
more
there.
jazzy, a lot more soul. It was coming off of To Pimp a Butterfly,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It was
So
all
it
the-
was
yeah.
kind of in that feel. So it was kind of that middle ground of what came after with Damn. So yeah, Derek,
That was your 6.
that was my 6.
That-
Did I give you
no,
6?
That's crazy that Isaiah Rashad is 8. That's crazy.
Well, we'll see. We'll
That's
see.
crazy.
I can't wait to see where it is on yours.
If there's surprises now, there's for sure more surprises
Maybe
coming.
it's not on my list.
Maybe it's not.
Maybe it's
it's
not.
I doubt that.
I know for a fact that this next one of mine ain't on no one's list.
Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
it might be overall on the list, but it's not on yours list. We're dipping our toes into country territory
Oh,
here.
shit.
Let's-
Number one.
You listen
We
to
have-
country?
yes.
You're such a weirdo.
I don't listen to honky tonk country, but whenever there's artists that are known to be good lyricists and good singers, Chris Stapletons of the world, I listen. And in this case, we have Sturgill Simpson,
Yep.
A Sailor's Guide to Earth. If you're not into country and you want to get into country,
That's
and you're done with the pickup talk and the case of beer and the catch fish all day, listen to Sturgill Simpson's album. It is absolutely fantastic. It is just lyricism at its finest. It's just enough country. It's not the
Poppy country.
it's not the poppy country. It is just a fantastic album. Sturgill Simpson, to a lot of people, is considered one of the best artists doing it right now overall in that style of music. He's just a great overall artist. You really have to listen to it. Number 4. Now we're getting into my world here. Metal. I'm probably the only one that's gonna have metal on his list. I know Malenko said he didn't have any. I'm for sure Steven doesn't have any. Ulcerate, Shrine of Paralysis.
You love that shit.
Heavy breakdown metalcore, chugging riffs, heavy drums, just overall just anger and just frustration. If you're looking for an album in 2016 to absolutely just headbang your life away and maybe leave with a sore neck, that is the album of that year. There's been a lot of good metal that year. Just as much as there was good hip hop, there was good metal, but there wasn't too much of this type of metal, like the metalcore, deathcore-ish kind of stuff. Just fantastic album. And number 3, we have probably one of my favorite bands of all time. Like, it's in the top 50 bands of all time for sure. And this project is probably their best project, at least the one that's the most critically acclaimed. It's going to be Architects. All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us. That is the last album of Architects with their clean singer and their main lyricist at the time, because he also passed away in 2016.
Jesus.
People leaving left and right.
People dying in 2016.
Very young.
Damn it.
Yeah, very young. But this project from Architects is absolutely fantastic. It is not the old Architects and the heavy breakdowns. It is the more melodic side of Architects, the more lyrically inclined side of Architects. But it's still, to this day, a fantastic album. It's instant replay value for me. If ever I feel like listening to metal, but I don't feel like listening to anything that's too heavy and too aggressive, that's the album I put. That's the album I put. It is absolutely fantastic. Architects have been doing this for a very long time. Yeah, if you haven't, check it out.
Public service announcement before we move on to Malenko's list. That's Derek all time. If all the hip hop listeners have left the podcast now, he's the weirdo with all the differences in his lists. Please, hope you stick around. We have Malenko's lists.
I cannot believe you calling him the weirdo here. But okay, so let's go with
what
and
you
yes, dude. You had 8. Isaiah Rashad at 8, and you calling him a weirdo? Get the hell.
Yes, metal and country and all that
I
stuff
don't
on
care.
there. Yeah.
That you know.
Look at my
whatever.
hair. Clearly, that's the kind of music I
would
listen
have
to.
gotten mad at me for saying my list.
Okay. Number 5. Number 5. I did my list. I knew this album came out in 2016. Did my list. Did not think it was on my top 10. I re-listened to the album yesterday and today. It went number 5. So it's Danny Brown, Atrocity Exhibition.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ. I thought it was longer, and I thought that I like less song than what I did. Dude, there's no skip. There's no skip on this fucking album. I love everything about it. For a lot of people, that was a top album for hip hop that year.
Yeah, it's true, huh?
And I don't think is my favorite. It's not my favorite from Danny Brown, but Danny being one of my favorite artists of all time, I could see why people like this so much. It was totally out of left field, and he raps on beats that still to this day I don't know how he did. I truly don't know how he did.
Does
Like
he ever
Dance in
miss?
the Water.
Does he ever miss? Does Danny Brown ever miss?
His soul project, yes.
His last project was a hit. I still listen to it all the time. I feel like you know what I'm saying was kind of okay.
I liked, you know what I'm saying. It was produced a lot by Q-Tip.
It was all Q-Tip,
Yeah.
and it wasn't great. Number 4, we have the classic Westside Gunn, Flygod. Jesus. When I re-listened to this, I didn't need to re-listen to it. I re-listened to it and I got the chills like right away. Like, what an album! I mean, Shower Shoe Lord with Benny is probably one of the craziest songs. Still my favorite with the two of them. Danny Brown is in there. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? We'll talk about it later. And my number 3, this guy, he did not pass away. Okay, he did not pass away.
That's a win.
But for me, he's like he did because I never listened to none of his projects. This was, you know, when you get a player that do the one season wonder and you never go back to that. That's him. And I don't know how people don't like this album better than this. This is YG, Still Brazy.
Oof.
Dude, My Crazy Life is nothing compared to YG, Still Brazy.
No.
That shit is hit after hit after hit. He made a concept album with a storyline that he kept and preserved, topics throughout the songs. He's good lyrically, West Coast sound. Like, dude, till this day, still Brazy as a clean version. So I added songs in my playlist for my stores. Since 2016, I've been listening to those songs and I still never get tired. Every time Twist My Fingers came out, every time it plays in my store,
It's classic.
I'm looking to see if someone wears blue so I can fuck them up. Like, it's crazy. Still Brazy is such a good album, and he never did nothing close to that after. It went all downhill. I don't even know if he does music, YG still. But
He does movies. He's actually in a movie with Freddie Gibbs and CM Punk.
yeah, exactly. So nobody's going to watch that.
Absolutely not.
But I mean, just that album to me is
It's classic.
it's so rare that it happens, stuff like that. Like, it's a classic from an artist that I never expected to do a classic. Like, when he came out with My Crazy Life, I wasn't impressed at all. Blame It on the Street, I wasn't impressed at all. Still Brazy just knocked me out. Like, it knocked me out straight up. Who Shot Me? Word is Bond. Come on, man. Gimme Got Shot. It's just good songs. Boom Balm and Belected. Like, come on. So, yeah, YG.
Number 5. YG Still Brazy.
There we go. There we go.
Such a great album.
If you like, when you want to listen to West Coast classic sounding beats in that new era in the 2010s, you put on YG Still Brazy. I have to agree with every single point Malenko said. That classic West Coast gangster rap sound that kind of went away or dissolved, YG brought that back with Still Brazy. That's the last thing I'm going to say about it.
Dude, Twist My Fingers. I got questions with Lil Wayne. Like, everything was excellent on that. The way he did the album, the whole segment of the album, fucking amazing.
Yeah, he did an amazing job. That's something that you need to hear that you'll enjoy.
It just made the list.
Number 4. I didn't want to put him on the list, but I said we can't talk about 2016 without this album. And that's Kanye West, Life of Pablo.
Wow, it didn't make mine.
Really?
Yeah, it's too long. I re-listened to it and I thought it was too long. And for the I feel like the ratio of highlights compared to the ratio of like what the fuck, there's more what the fuck than highlights.
That's a good point.
Right? I feel like
I put Life of Pablo in top 5 Kanye West albums. I do. I really do. I remember this record when it came out. literally staring at a computer screen,
It changed
waiting.
version 8.5 times.
Changed version 20 times. When are we getting the real version? When is it coming out? But I remember when it dropped, you had to buy it from his website. And
Yeah,
it was
some
like,
weird like
and it was like $20 USD.
That was before the Nazi shirts, right?
That was before all that
that's,
stupidity.
that's the last straw. That like we were taking his bullshit, but that was the last straw.
That was the last round. Any music that he put out after that, to me, is horrendous, and I'll never listen to it. Life of Pablo is the cutoff.
Is it pre? Oh, actually, is it pre Kardashian Kanye?
No, he's with Kardashian.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because they did the show at, was it Madison Square Garden? They did the show somewhere. They did like where everybody was there. Everybody from the album was there, and people in the crowd were just going
Yeah,
ballistic. The actual show, the concert,
with the fake Future featuring.
the toy, which was Designer.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Which all
that
of us,
was such a good moment
Which-
that everybody thought it was Future.
which Designer is an underground rapper. All of a sudden, I don't know if you knew that.
Designer disappeared totally. That guy. Yeah.
But yeah, just Life of Pablo. I'm gonna keep it at that. I just loved the sequence of the album. I loved the sound of the album. I loved how Kanye. First of all, Kanye West is a terrible rapper on this, but just how the album was put together, the soundscape of the record, just the excitement of the record, the whole thing behind it. Number 3 is gonna be Ka, Honor Killed the Samurai. Honor Killed the Samurai. You could go back to every single Ka record and literally always enjoy it. It doesn't matter which year we're in. But Ka in 2016, we were always waiting for a Ka record to drop, right? He did the records before this, but Honor Killed the Samurai really shifted his sound and really like shined the light on him lyrically.
Oh, my favorite songs of his are More Night, Cash.
Yeah.
All those songs are like my favorite of his. He did it all time.
Yeah, and he passed away a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, and just we miss Ka so much. Just that sound in here,
Yeah.
like who rapped that way?
No one. He did.
The introspective of Ka on here,
Yeah.
like when you talk about artists
That
like
cold
David,
and lonely.
like
Yeah.
David Bowie, when you talk about artists like Radiohead, and just how their music really touches you and really like cements, Ka did that with his lyricism.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
he never steered away from that because he always did it his way.
It's poetry. It's not bars. It's not street talk. It's just straight up personal, introspective lyricism. It's poetry. It's the things that a lot of people wish, I think, hip hop was. Not just the big boy talk, the big daddy talk, something with a little bit more substance. And that's Ka.
Yeah.
That's what he brings to the table. And he does that with all his records. Just this one, it just stands out from the rest at that time, because there was, out of all the hip hop that came out that year, there was nothing that quite sounded like that project.
It's different. You get shivers when you listen to it. It's very dark.
Yeah.
Like when I mean like dark, I mean like Radiohead dark.
Yeah.
When Radiohead puts you in a different universe, a different world, that's what Ka gave to us on this record. Honor Killed the
100%.
Samurai.
Absolutely. And I think that's a absolutely great segue, because we're getting into our top 2. And my number 2 is Radiohead, A Moon-Shaped Pool.
Oof.
That album, just Radiohead in general. You need to probably be in a specific kind of headspace, in a specific kind of mood to listen to
Yes.
Radiohead.
Uh-huh.
But when you're in that headspace, Radiohead is exactly what you need. When you're in that mood, there's no one that does it like they do. From the lyricism to the music, the artistry involved in a Radiohead project is head and shoulders above what a lot of other people are doing in their prime, and they're doing it in like the off season. Radiohead is that good. It is a conglomerate. It is a group of supremely talented individuals that come together to give you just masterful work every single time. Critics have been raving about Radiohead for years. The Radiohead fans are on Radiohead like you wouldn't believe. And I know it's annoying. I know you've heard about Radiohead. I know you don't understand why people love Radiohead so much. But I think that once you do get Radiohead, it opens that entire world for you. Once you find that album or that song from Radiohead and you truly learn what it's like to enjoy Radiohead music and what headspace you have to be in, the world opens for you, and then all their projects all of a sudden start making sense.
And you're not wrong, because for me, Radiohead, there's a time and place for Radiohead.
Yeah.
And like when I went to the Bell Center to watch them on this tour, and their live shows don't sound like their albums. Like far from it. They really do something differently live. But this record in particular, to add like songs like Dex Dark and Burn the Witch. Like this is their last record that came out, was in 2016. Like the numbers. Like I'm looking at the list of here and I'm just like the time and place of when this came out.
And I got Future at number 9. That's talking about he's talking about giving girls Xanax. And having so
You had a James Alvin on there.
And you guys are talking about like Radiohead and shit. I was 22, bro.
Yeah.
I wasn't not hearing no fucking Radiohead. Bro.
Yeah,
I discovered Radiohead because of when I was a kid, a little child. I had a math tutor that like was a fan of Radiohead.
When you're obsessed with Radiohead, you're obsessed with Radiohead.
He was,
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think, like Steven said, there's a time and a place for Radiohead. But once again, you can't deny the talent that these guys have. They're going to go down as some of the greatest of all time in that indie rock kind of sound. They've inspired so many bands. There's bands like Bon Iver that also released in 2016 that give you that same sort of kind of like dark and introspective and artistic kind of work.
Tom York needs to shut the fuck up, though. He's saying some bullshit. He's saying some bullshit.
Well, that's what happens, you know.
He's saying some bullshit.
Stick to 2016.
The music in 2016. Don't talk about none of politics, you Tom York, you fuck.
There's that too.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. And number 1.
Oh boy.
Oh shit.
Number 1, fellas. I am sorry to do this.
Oh boy.
I know it's the all-time podcast. I know we talk about hip-hop. This is not a hip-hop album. Spoiler.
Carmen Campagne.
It is 100% not Carmen Campagne. Ma petite vache a pas mal aux pattes. I can guarantee you that much. It is probably one of my favorite bands of all time. Hands down, the band I've seen live the most. And every single time I see this band live, they're almost never the headliner, but every single person at the concert agrees that they were better than the headliner. And that's Gojira with their album Magma.
I knew it.
I do not know how to properly express. I don't have the vocabulary to express how huge and meaningful and how much I love Gojira's music. Every project that came before this, heavier, more raw, more visceral kind of Gojira. Like the really hungry, progressive Gojira. They're really trying to make a name for themselves. And then something happened. They were writing an album and their mother passed away. It forced them to shift and refocus. And that anger that they used to feel, that just raw aggression they used to feel got toned down all of a sudden. All of a sudden they got put with the realities of life and they gave us a more, what a lot of Gojira fans are going to say is maybe a more commercial, a more less aggressive, less raw, but in my opinion is the most polished version of Gojira, and it's the Gojira we're seeing today. It's the Gojira that in my opinion, put them on the map. It is prog metal at its modern prog metal at its near finest.
That's his finest. Yeah.
It's Gojira from an artistic standpoint. They have probably one of the best drummers in the game. They're shifting away in this album from the talking about like saving the planet. They're really big eco-friendly people. They talk about saving the planet and saving the whales and stuff like that. That's their whole thing. On this project, you get none of that, but you get the same sort of eerie, progressive, heavy kind of sound, but it's also melodic, and it's just progressive enough that it reminds you kind of like the best of Tool in a lot of ways. Not the spacey-ish kind of prog, but just the good old-fashioned head-banging prog metal. And to me, this project is, every time I want to listen to Gojira, I start with this. every single time. There's not a single skip on this. Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, for me especially, I think this is Gojira's best project ever, and it probably one of my favorite projects in metal in general to ever come out. If we were to ever make a list about a top 20 metal albums of all time, I could guarantee you this is on the list. I don't know where it's on the list, but I could guarantee you it's on the list.
That's a great pick.
Who's next?
I'll go with my number 2. We talked about it before. Isaiah Rashad, The Sun Star Raid. I think Isaiah Rashad, this is probably his best album. I don't think he ever did something close to this. The whole sequence of the album, the storytelling, the hits that he got on this is something that I've been listening for 10 years. Can you believe that? Like 10 years listening to this. Just when I thought that maybe it's gonna be in my top 5. Maybe when I re-listened to all these albums, man, this at that moment in life and how I was, this album like was exactly what I needed, you know. And it pretty much, there was so much expectations for this album because he just came out of a strong project already. He was in TDE 2016. TDE was probably the biggest group that you could get in hip hop. That was the Force. So him being the new one and his new project coming out, he gave us something that's not too much left field, but it's not too much conventional either. And again, I think every song on here is so much, the use of features throughout the album is so well used. I love that album. And my number 1, I think, is I don't think this is gonna surprise anyone, but today I think I can do this. I can change something that I always been firm with, and my whole life, my favorite rapper has been Redman. And on the podcast today, I can say my favorite rapper of all time, it's Schoolboy Q with Blank Face. I kept it to the end. Okay. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is my top 1, top 2, maybe. I'll check. I re-listened to all these albums. I kept it to the end just before today, like open, and there's nothing, bro. There's nothing. I don't think it's his best album. I think Blue Lips is his best album.
Which I find you're out of control.
By far. But Blank Face was anything like it hurt me when he did Crash Talk because of Blank Face not getting that commercial success he was expecting. He said it multiple times on interviews. He got that critics number 1. A lot of people put them in number 1 in the hip hop outlets, and they were very praising it a big time. But he wasn't selling out shows for the first time ever, and that affected him a lot
mentally.
And then he hit Crash Talk just for the numbers, and it sounds like it. And this one, man, even the deep cuts to me are bangers. To me are hidden, totally fucking hidden bangers. Big Body is like one of my favorite songs of all time. Big Body, Big Bands. Like, I'll step on you with that song. Like, I don't know what to say about it. Can you name me some of the songs on here? It's just hits on hits.
I'm gonna go with since we're on the topic. My number 2 is Schoolboy Q, Blank Face. Okay, we're gonna continue talking about this. My number 2 is Schoolboy Q, Blank Face. Torch. Opening
crazy
to Torch. You wouldn't expect Schoolboy Q to release a song like this and start his album like this. Then you have Lord Have Mercy. That part featuring Kanye West, which was the single, was commercially successful. But then you have Groovy Tony, Eddie Kane featuring Jadakiss. Okay? Know You're Wrong featuring Lance Skywalker with one of the most catchiest hook of that year. Then you have Ride Out featuring Vince Staples.
Ride Out. Yeah, you use something like, again, 2 West Coast Crips on that beat. They didn't go with the classic West Side type of gangbanger
No.
aesthetic of the. It's a fucking heavy banger, weird ass music. Like he went all direction on this. The beat switches are nasty. The way he uses features, Jadakiss on Blank Face, ridiculous. Anderson .Paak in the intro.
The Dog Pound
The
on
Dog Pound
Big Body.
on Big Body.
Dope
John-
Dealer.
Dope
Featuring
Dealer with
E40.
dude. That song.
Featuring E40.
Yeah.
When
yeah.
I heard that, I think I threw something in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that checks out. You're an aggressive person. Makes sense.
But like the project the Straight Ballin'.
Yeah, Straight Ballin' is a hit. Like, I mean, again, I can go on and on with this album, but to me, it's nothing close.
I'm gonna ask, when you think of putting a project together, when you think of putting a body of work together, like when we say body of work, it's not just an album. It's actually, you have to put in a lot of effort into it. Schoolboy Q gave us a classic record with this. And he didn't steer away from the West Coast sound, but he gave us a more West Coast darkness to his music.
Yeah.
He's dark on here, but he still sounds hungry.
Yeah.
After Oxymoron.
Yeah. That was Oxymoron was.
He still like songs like By Any Means.
Yep.
There's
Tuki
not
Knows.
one bad song on here. Even Overnight, another commercially successful track.
Yeah, Overnight is the only one that I would say like that. I didn't really need it, but he did it for the commercial success of it. But Tuki Knows.
Blank Face is a type of album that you put. First of all, this is my favorite Schoolboy Q record. But this is a type of album that you put on when you don't know what you want to listen to, and it gets you into a certainly different mood, a different vibe. Again, car music, headphones music.
Groovy Tony Eddie Kane is
The beat
honestly
switch on there.
the beat switch and the way he used Jadakiss, the way he talked like the song Black Dot on here too. Like he went really into dark stuff and he told a great story. I
He has a story throughout the whole
Yeah.
album. It's basically just him. It's about him and his vices and just what he was going through at the time. Schoolboy Q is very at the time and what he's going through, right? He is probably the best gangster, quote unquote gangster rapper of that era, of the 2010s.
Yeah.
Right? Now he steered kind of away from that, which is totally fine. But like the album is alive. I don't think there's any hip hop fan. If you call yourself a hip hop fan and you don't like Blank Face by Schoolboy Q, it doesn't make sense to me. Because he gave us also a classic hip hop sound on here. He gave us lyricism. He gave us this classic hip hop flows on here.
Yep.
He literally went everywhere with this. And I don't understand why not a lot of people really gravitate to this album by him. And I think it has to do with the darkness of the
It's
record.
dark. It's dark. Yeah. What's your number one?
My number one.
I wonder.
I wonder. I have
Do you
no.
I have
wonder-
no idea.
My number one, 10 years later, on the 10-year anniversary, that changed my life, and I'm going to be honest, is a 10 on 10, is a record that we can go back to anytime, that really changed the landscape of hip-hop and the hip-hop sound, is Westside Gunn and Flygod. We're coming up on the 10-year anniversary. We're going to sit here, Malenko, and we've been friends since 2017.
Mhm.
And if Westside Gunn didn't exist, if Westside Gunn didn't put out Flygod, we probably wouldn't be sitting here doing a podcast together. 'Cause
Probably.
that's what brought me and Malenko together. It was Westside Gunn. Okay? Before Flygod, we were comfortable with what the underground used to sound like.
Yep.
Sean Price, Rock Marciano. I would even put in there Black Milk,
Aesop Rock.
Aesop Rock,
That I'm surprised they not do your list for 2016.
The Impossible Kid.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
I was
we
surprised.
can name Boot Camp Click, Sky Zoo,
Kaizu. Yeah, he had a great The Easy Truth.
Action Bronson.
Yep. Nothing came out in 2016 for Action Bronson.
Okay, I'm naming you all these rappers, but what's really changed the landscape of what hip hop sounds like? A lot of people are going to gravitate to Rock Marciano. A lot of people are going to say Rock Marciano changed the landscape of what sound like underground hip hop with Reloaded. But I disagree totally. I say it's Westside Gunn with Flygod. Because with Westside Gunn's Flygod, okay, we have the comfortable underground hip hop sound, but we also have the sound of what's to come for the next 10 years on there. He mixed two sounds together. Rock Marciano paved the way in terms of the drumless beats, in terms of the different style of rapping on a drumless beat or on a beat. Westside Gunn took underground hip hop and gave us a sound that we didn't know we needed, but also gave us a nostalgic in 2016 of what we were missing. You open up the record with Dunks featuring Conway. Okay? Please, Malenko, I'm not gonna point to Derek because Derek is not familiar with this record. Tell me which other album starts off with something like this in 2016 or in the 2010s. This intense, this drum driven, this lyricism that's so aggressive and so angry. This, I don't want to use this, but quote unquote, street hip hop.
That drug dealing. But I mean, there was not much. But I think what the biggest change of Westside Gunn brought is like the structure of songs, the structure of how he do albums, the way he just puts things wherever he wants, the crazy ad libs,
The Gunn ad libs.
the Gunn and putting always the other artists in the forefront before him.
Always.
Yeah.
I remember this when this record came out, and then I'm always gonna say this. Danny Brown posted on Instagram, on Twitter at the time, just praising this album. He's also featuring on here, praising this record, and me being like, "Who the fuck is Westside Gunn?" And pressing play, and still to this day being blown away by the sound of this record.
Danny Brown was had a crazy year in 2016.
Yeah.
He was on all those features.
And he was a featuring on here. Like, if you look at the featurings on here, you got Benny the Butcher, who on Shower Shoe Lords, I had no idea who this guy was. I looked at the track listing, I'm like, the guy's name is just Benny?
Yeah, Benny the Butcher, yeah.
This guy is rapping.
Your Old Droog was on it?
Insane. Your Old Droog, that's another person that I was listening to from the underground in the 2010s. Matt Comey, I didn't know who this person was.
Matt Comey was on it. Yeah.
Mayhem Loren on Over Gold.
Yeah.
You got Sky Zoo on here. You got Action Bronson on Dudley Boys.
Probably one of the best songs
on here. But then you get the songs like Free Chapel. Bodies on Fairfax. Who was talking about fashion in his raps in the underground till then?
Yeah. All mixed like shit, those songs, though. The mixing of those songs, god damn it. It's so bad, but whatever.
Malenko always has to bring the shittiness of the sounding of the mixing on there, but...
Well, I think it makes sense to bring it up, like, because it's probably not, it might not be something that you notice at the time, because keep in mind, like, a first album of a lot of artists, you're in a lot of ways kind of expecting it. Not that I think it should be tough to mix, but I think you're kind of expecting like a more raw kind of sound. But then you revisit it 10 years later and you're like, please remaster that.
I didn't remember that Dunks was like, it's not the way everything sounds is crazy, but yeah, he did it. I mean, he has his classics on here. I think Mr. T is probably one of his most classic songs ever. Right?
Paul. And then we're getting into something else he brought back or got people interested in his wrestling again because of the tracks on here. Dudley Boys, Hall. Who was making that wrestling cool in hip hop? Yes, we had the rappers back then that would, they would, in a verse, they would do a wrestling verse, but nobody did it like Westside Gunn. Westside Gunn took hip hop and put it into a different level. I look at hip hop as the abyss, the really the ground level of artists that not a lot of people know, that you'll go to a show and there'll be 30, 40 people, 50 people there. Then there's the underground. They'll have a bit more people. And then there's that middle ground and then the commercial artists. Westside Gunn with the Hitler Wears Hermes series. He was in the abyss. He was at the bottom. He really broke through with Flygod, and that got other people interested in his music and took that style of music and went into a different stratosphere. Because I'm telling you now, please, we wouldn't be doing this podcast if it wasn't for an album like this. Because of all the artists that we talk about and all the artists that we review on our podcast, they wouldn't really exist if it wasn't for a Westside Gunn Flygod album. Yeah, we would have the Cause of the World, we would have the Knowledge, the Pirates of the World because of Rock Marciano, but really think of what Westside Gunn, how many doors he opened with Flygod and gave a structure for them to be able to create music.
Yeah, everybody copycat of that. Crazy.
And you know what? All of them are successful now because they took that antidote, because they took
Everyone.
that, that pill, or they took that, whatever you want to call it, that formula and made it into their own.
What do they say? Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Yeah. But I feel like the game, like 70-60% of the game now is all Griselda bass inspired music.
Griselda and Westside Gunn made that sound that we love today, that we reviewed, that we're always...
The unstructured, the short songs, like he had poetry on this, like Keisha Plum doing spoken poetry at the end of the outros. Talk about wrestling. All those things now, everybody copy that in the other.
Wrestling was cool again after you hear this because you're like, fuck the Dudley Boys. Let me go back and watch Dudley Boys matches. What's happening in wrestling now? Hall. And also the skits.
Yeah.
The long...
outro like, with Rashid and stuff like, yeah, A.A. Rashid.
Look, he took it onto a different planet. And you know what? Shouts out to him because a lot of it would not exist if it wasn't for Flygod and Westside Gunn. Yes, Supreme Blientele did something different in terms of that sound, but Flygod is just, to me, Flygod is just it's what made everything. It's what made everything. This album literally built everything for what's to come for the next 10 years. And that's how I'm going to end it. Flygod at number 1, 10 on 10, happy anniversary, Flygod, 10 years down the line.
Not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
Not surprised. Not surprised.
I love how you guys like to shut me down after I just did a complete
We did not
speech.
shut you down.
I'm not surprised.
No, we're
I'm
not
surprised.
We're not. No, we're not surprised.
Not
We're
surprised.
not surprised. There's nothing wrong with being in quote unquote predictable with it. We know you're a Westside Gunn fan. We know how much that album means to you. It's something that we've spoken about, not live. It's something we've spoken about in our either in our group chat or we've spoken about just in straight up conversations
For the last 3 months.
But also whenever
it's coming. It's coming. Flygod, 10 year. It's coming.
Yeah. But also whenever I first started working with Steven and I would ask him, I was like, hey Steven, like hip hop, like I'm not really into it. Like he gave me a list of albums and then he's like, oh, by the way, he's like, when this list is done, he's like, put Flygod on there. I was like, okay. I was like, I have to get to it. But like, and to his credit, Steven knows his shit. He knows his shit. He's been listening to this kind of stuff long enough. What Steven does in this space and what Malenko does in this space for hip hop, having been listening to hip hop for so long, is that you guys are able to go back to those albums because you were present in the moment when those albums changed the landscape of that specific music.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, like it's kind of like the person who listened to the first Tool album or the first time Metallica dropped an album. You know, if you were there at that time, you were like, there's Nirvana, same thing. First time Nevermind came out. Why do you think people are write so hard for Nirvana? It's because at that time there was nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. They destroyed music and they brought back a sound that still very much to this day is associated with them. You think grunge? For a lot of people, grunge is Nirvana.
Nirvana, yeah.
There's plenty of other bands that, in my opinion, I know I'm going to get heat for this, that do it better.
Oh, absolutely. I
In
can
my
name you a
opinion.
bunch. Temple of the Dog.
But Nirvana is that. If when we comparison is the thief of joy, but if we could say that Flygod was for underground hip hop, what Nirvana's Nevermind was for grunge, that's high praise. That's absolutely very good company to be with.
Yeah.
To be on that level of you change music with an album, and like Malenko said, that's maybe not mixed the greatest, that has like that kind of like grimy, kind of like rough sound, and the fact that you've changed the landscape of music for the next 10 years and counting, dude, like that's the highest praise you could ever have. The highest praise is having everyone imitate what you're doing. That's the highest praise you could ever have in this world. And if that album did that, then hell, like, good for him. Like, if he understands that now, or he'll understand later how much of an impact he's had on the music, that's on him. But like, we can all sit here, and right now that makes me want to listen to this album. And maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll appreciate modern day hip hop more listening to that album than I do it now. Maybe it'll unlock a part of my brain that's like, oh, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoy Gojira because I was listening to Tool beforehand. You know, I was sort of like, I kind of like grew up with that sound. So if Flygod is that album, then I'm gonna get right to it, and maybe that'll unlock something different for me.
Like I said, Flygod took us out of the space that we were missing, and really took us onto a different journey in terms of music.
Yeah.
I hold him up there with some of the best, just as a curator in terms of music, just as how he structured his album, just how we just the beat selection, like Mr. T.
Mhm.
How, like, with just that sample that was used on there with no drums.
Yeah, that like the cocaine talk, like going full on with cocaine, like, yeah, it was different at that time.
Yeah. And thanks to Westside, Gunn, and Flygod, because it made me and Malenko have a friendship for 9 years down the line, 10 years down the line.
Oh, you guys are cute. You guys are so cute.
Yeah, we shouldn't have it like that. That's
You guys are so cute. Now there's going to be speculation in the comments of like what that relationship is like.
Yeah.
Who's the big spoon? Who's the little
Dude,
spoon?
I think I'm never gonna get rid of this sickness, bro. I just got sick again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. That's because of all Steven's bullshit.
We are going to end it off on the right note before we get out of here, because I think somebody else that just joined in the room wants to give us his top 1 list. No?
What's going on, guys?
Hey,
I think it's Mr. Casual Joe from the Wrestling Tees podcast.
Shout out to the Wrestling Tees podcast.
It's me, yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you a question.
Ask me. I want to know what Tom York said also. I missed that.
Because
I'm actually a huge Radiohead fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
huge Radiohead fan.
He supported Israel. He went to perform over there and he supported them.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I used to be a huge Radiohead fan. Okay, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
It's being somebody that's loved music, and I'm putting you on the spot. 2016. If you can give me your top album from 2016, knowing you don't know anything about anything, but
I can't. Listen. For me, I live in the moment, bro.
Live in the moment.
I don't remember anything, but someone did bring up Bruno Mars.
Yeah, 24 Karat Magic.
24 Karat Magic, and I still listen to that album today. So that was my wedding song too. So.
Oh, well, there you go. So that's always going to have a special place.
That's what I'm going
all right, and that's the last time that Casual Joe's going to be on the...
I'm getting married to Gustavo, me. Gustavo by Flygod. Yeah, by Westside Gunn. Gustavo.
I would do Dunks.
Dunks? No, it sounds... The mix is not good.
Anything needs to be violent for me, so having Dunks by Westside Gunn and Conway, I think it's going to be that.
Yeah.
By the way, you said that... What's his name is your favorite?
Schoolboy Q.
Schoolboy Q. He's got one of the best hip hop videos of all time.
Which one?
The one when he's riding in the car and the camera angle is
John Moore. Yeah.
John Moore. That song is incredible, and the video
is crazy.
One of the best videos in hip hop.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Of all
the
time.
artistry of him is like
he's
another level. For a mainstream artist, he has a good artist.
He's always been amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But he was never the main guy on TDE, right? You had the Kendricks.
I would disagree. I liked him first and before anyone.
But he wasn't. They weren't pushing him the way they were pushing.
Oh no, they pushed him a lot.
You think so?
Yeah.
Kendrick was the golden boy. Schoolboy Q had that different
Oxymoron when
Oxymoron was crazy at that time.
And platinum. Like he did numbers with that.
Yeah.
Big numbers.
Yeah, it's true. But after a while, he kind of stopped making music.
Yeah, he took a long break.
He wanted to raise his daughter, right? I think that was one of the reasons.
And play golf.
and play golf.
Hey, guys, get your stuff at Golf Town.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else before we get up out of here, Derek?
No, man, 2016 was a hell of a year. Like it, especially for hip hop and for metal, for indie. Hell of a year for music. I have not even begun 2017. I didn't even look in 2017 in terms of what happened. Probably more people passed away. I'm gonna have to shout them out on the next time that happens. But it is what it is. Like it was fun. It was fun. Honestly, making this list, going back to what all time stands for, which is all time lists of whatever random fucking subject we could come up with.
Well, it stands for me, but
It just stands. Yeah, sure.
I like that fact you said about Radiohead, though. They did influence so many people coming up, like, especially with them changing their styles so much.
Yeah.
You go back, you listen to Coldplay and completely took
Oh yeah.
the Benz album, you know, and just they
the
went
formula, right?
the formula.
Radiohead has one of the best formulas in music.
Radiohead has one of those fans where it's like, have you ever heard OK Computer? And like, oh God, yeah. Yes, I have.
Yeah, they're one of those where
Like big nerds.
Big nerds.
they're kind of like the Montreal Canadiens of music.
What the fuck are you saying?
Malenko's a Montreal Canadiens fan. Let me finish my point. There's nothing wrong with the Montreal Canadiens.
We went too long
It's
with
the
this.
fans. The fans ruin it for a lot of people. Those diehard obsessive fans. At some point, I'm like, yes, I've heard it. You don't need to rave about it more. I've heard it. I'm just don't get a boner for it. But it's a
Pause.
good album. Pause. No, actually, no pause. I definitely stand by the fact that I don't get a boner listening to fucking Radiohead. But they're one of those bands that they're so influential that the people who love them to absolute death,
Ride
and they
or
could get
die.
annoying for everyone else. But it is what it is.
Yep. Eric, Malenko,
What?
anything else before we get up out of here?
Go,
No.
Canadian, go.
No, I think Derek might drop in 2017. That's what happened.
I might. We never know.
I think he might drop by
Maybe.
drop by me.
We never know.
Yeah. And on that note, the Rap ESPN is out of here. We appreciate you all. We appreciate you all for sticking through 2016, the top 10 list. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. Yeah. And please go into the comments and don't forget to give us your top 10 list, top 5 list, top 3 list of 2016. We'll be looking for them.
Doing that right now.
Okay.
He's
Thank you.
definitely not. We're out. Peace.
Peace.
Baby.